What up? We are here after a little hiatus. Dubs beat the Hawks tonight. We're actually joined by Nat, who's in the Bay right now. But yeah, Dubs got a good win tonight. Nat wanted to hop on and talk to the fam real quick. Um, let's see what we got. What we got?
Hey guys, yeah, I mean, obviously, they got a win, which is obviously good for them, but that really wasn't the story of the night. It was, and there's so many things I'm sure you guys are going to get into. Jonathan Kuminga tonight, um, but the story of the night is Deki and the tribute that was paid to him. And we haven't had an episode since the news came down, so um, I'm not sure how much you and Kareem are planning to talk about it, but it was really emotional and kind of being here. I mean, I'm sure you could see it on TV and everyone could get that, but like being here and seeing everyone, um, it just seeing it close up like that, it really impacted this team a lot. And I just I sort of tweeted this earlier, but hope the fan base can be thoughtful and mindful of that, because I see things like what's wrong with Steph and criticizing things and like I don't know that people like you have players that were in the room when this event happened. Um, it's a very traumatic event for the entire organization from top to bottom. And they're going to be dealing with this. Like, everyone's going to go back to life, but they're going to be dealing with this for the rest of the season and beyond. So, I just need people to be measured, but also, from what I've been hearing, you know, the Warriors may not end up doing a trade anymore. Who knows? And Zeki's death could be a large reason for that because there's a lot of I shouldn't say a lot, but there's feeling right now, like in terms of being grateful and they didn't trust each other and maybe they should just keep things intact and you know be more positive. And so whether that's valid or not, whether this is just the immediate reaction, it may affect even their business dealings and how they move. And I think people need to be understanding of that. Like it could galvanize the team. And I'm not saying you need death to galvanize, but we just don't know what the reaction, like we don't know how it's going to impact them. But just understand that it has a great impact for the rest of the season. So um, even in their business decisions, not just the players on the court. So, because I know if they don't make a trade, we'll hear, oh, same old Warriors as usual. But no, like this death traumatized the org, and they're processing that, and that affects even the business decisions they're going to make for the team, at least right now in the near future, or possibly. And it may not. They might still do something, but it's there's just a lot of things being considered right now. So, um, it's heartbreaking. And like, even talking about this is like, you saw his wife, and it was just like really sad. Like, this is so much bigger than basketball. And we're going to obviously do our jobs and we're going to have a podcast tonight and talk about it. But these are life changing things, these have ramifications. And so, just sending love and support and prayers to his family and just asking everyone to kind of be patient and understanding with them right now. They are going through something. They are going through something real. So that's all I wanted to just hop on and say. Wish I could stay with you guys, but I'm sure it's going to be a wonderful pod. I'm going to go ahead to the post game now. So I'm sorry if my camera's a little off. I've been trying to adjust it. I just gave up. So but thank you for having me, and you guys have fun.
All right.
Thank you.
All right,
Thank you,
guys.
Nat.
Later.
Later. All
So
right.
it's just us.
It's just
Just
us.
us.
She's going to do her thing, post game, asking questions, stuff like that. You guys be on the lookout on Twitter for anything that she posts, having to do with the games, any questions and stuff. But yeah, she hit the nail right on the head, right? This team is going through something right now, and they did get a good win, which is, something to bring some positive energy to the whole thing. But obviously, a very, very sad time within the organization, within the fan base, obviously within the basketball world, right? We saw
Yeah.
the type of effect that he had across the world, especially in Serbia and in the places that he, you know, coached and
Coach.
played and did
Mhm.
did what he did and affected all those lives. All across the NBA, guys were just kind of expressing their, sorrow for his loss, and just a sad time, just a sad time. But
Yeah.
it was good that they got the win, just to lift people's spirits in this, very tough time.
Yeah. And how they came out to and played. They really had a lot of energy, and you saw that the joy was back
Hmm.
with them. And I know they poured a lot of that into it to honor Deki because of his very positive energy around just you everybody who spoke about mentioned his joy like all
Hmm.
the time. Anybody that they interviewed, any of the posts, it was all about joy and, his just positive energy constantly. So the tribute was just so moving
Hmm.
and emotional that just talking about it now, I'm like, oh my gosh. And, I didn't know him personally, but to see just how he clearly was a huge part of the team. Um, just some of the players coming to tears watching the tribute and all of that. So we know that it's still very, very raw. And I know it felt good for them also to kind of just get back out there for such a long,
Hmm.
layoff. But it was, I think, good to feed their souls, I guess, just to
Hmm.
knowing that they have to push forward and continue, because this is what Decky would have wanted. Like they said, he would have wanted them to play and to get this win. Really, you know, I know that that they really, really wanted it for him, and secondly for themselves.
Hmm.
So yeah,
For sure. For sure. I mean, I was listening to the Draymond podcast the other day, and he was talking about like you try to use basketball as an outlet, and then like, I mean, he was a basketball coach, so it's just he was
right,
intertwined in that world for them. So that's not even an outlet for them, or I guess an escape from the reality of it.
right,
So I mean, they did a good job of just embracing the moment and taking a chance to honor him and do what you know they love to do, and it turned out in a pretty good win for the team that, like you said, the team really needed for more than one reason. And obviously, this is all bigger than basketball. But speaking to the basketball, they needed a win,
they
right?
did.
Like the last game that we've seen them play before all of this happened was a loss to the Memphis Grizzlies,
Yeah,
um, who obviously just aren't fielding a very serious team, even though they beat the Miami Heat tonight. Um, so they needed a win. They're low in the standings. They're trying to climb their way back up, especially prior to the trade deadline, just to kind of put things into a better perspective of what they have and what they're working with. And like Nat said, maybe they just aren't in the emotional space to make any changes. But just from a basketball perspective, they do need to play serious basketball from here on out, right, to the rest of the season
yeah,
at this point period. So I guess just looking at the game itself, the story of the game player wise was obviously Jonathan Kuminga, who had a perfect night, 25
yeah.
points, 11 for 11 from the field, which is a
It's a tying franchise history with
right.
Chris Mullins. Yeah.
Exactly. Most
So
makes without a miss in franchise history, tied with Chris Mullin for 11.
yeah,
He was a plus 18, 9 rebounds, led the team in rebounds, 2 steals, 2 blocks, just very focused. Clearly,
Very. Yes.
wasn't making a ton of mistakes, if any at all. He was a hawk on the ball, picking up 94 feet. And this is the type of player that you envision him being, right, at his best, right? This is one of those ceiling games where it just shows you the full package offensively and defensively, using his athleticism, using his skill. A lot of people don't acknowledge that his mid-range shot is very, very potent. Like he hits it at a really high clip. He's not a
does.
3-point shooter, but he can still hit that mid-range pretty consistently. It's kind of like Westbrookian. Like Westbrook used to be pretty cash from the mid-range, but he wasn't the best 3-point shooter. But
Right.
yeah, I mean, it's not much more we can say about JK's performance.
we just want to see more of that going forward, which, you know, he has been pretty consistent. Yeah, he's had some hiccups here and there, but hopefully this just, let's just keep riding it just like this. And again, you don't have to start to play well and to play a lot of minutes.
For sure.
I mean, what was he
this
at?
is
25 minutes or
29.
29 minutes. So look, and he came off the bench and was key in this win.
Yep. I mean, this is his 4th straight game of 20 points or more, and it's his 4th game of not starting. I want to say he might not have started the game before, but he don't got to start. Like I said, he just needs to be featured. He's very much like Jordan, and I anticipated going into the season that he would have to fill in that role as just young guy, a lot of upside, can score the ball, can do a lot of things out there that nobody else on the team can do. So he is needed, and he has a lot of talent, right? So whether he starts or comes off the bench or whatever, that talent needs to be put on display, and he needs to be put in a position to let that talent kind of shine through. And it's up to the players around him to cover up for whatever weaknesses he may have as he's progressing in his career and becoming a more experienced player.
Yeah. But they were feeding him in the post. Like the ball was getting to him. And he was also carving it up himself and saying, oh, wait, nope, I see this right here. I'm going. So that was good to see. And like you said, picking up 94 feet on defense and staying engaged the entire time, which is always all right, homie, what you gonna do? So that was good, but just a perfect game.
Perfect game.
Kuminga.
And it was something I tweeted during the game. Like he looks at these other like big athletic young guys like Jalen Johnson, who's been great for the Hawks this season. Like he's kind of like the hipster player of the year, right? Where all people who like are tuned into teams nobody else really watches, like loves these players. Like Herb Jones was that a few years ago. Like, it's Jalen Johnson this year. He's a good player. He was a lottery pick himself. He kind of went down to the G League. Kind of his hype died down because he wasn't like out of the gate as a rookie great, but now he's kind of coming into his own. And he had a good game today, 21, 9, and 6. But like at no point in the game did he look like he could do anything with Jonathan. Jonathan was just like doing whatever he wanted, put him into the cup, shooting in his face. Like he just looks more athletic, stronger. Everything that makes Jalen good, Jonathan just looked like he was a little bit better at this game.
Yeah, for sure.
And Jonathan kind of does that when he sees these other young guys like that are at his age group. You know, like he played well against Franz Wagner like earlier this season.
Yeah,
he always plays well against the Trailblazers and Shaden Sharp. So he kind of takes these a little personal, you can tell.
Right. I was just going to say he takes that as a challenge. Like, yeah, all right. Let me see, you know, so he goes out there to show out, but still he was making the smart plays and taking his time and not rushing and not kind of like feeding into his own hype, you know?
Right.
He allowed the game to come to him as well as I'm going to take this game, you know? So that was really, really great to see.
True. Exactly. Other players who had great games, the team leader in plus minus was Draymond Green, who also came off the bench. I'm not sure how long that'll last, but came off the bench. He was a plus 19. jump shot is still there. We're waiting
It's
for it we're waiting for it to come back down to earth. But he hit 2
We're
threes.
not wishing it away. We're not
Right,
wishing it away.
right.
Like,
But yeah, he stuffed the stat
yeah,
sheet: 12 points, 5 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 steals, 1 block. He's looking. I mean, and when he's played this season, he's looked like the best version of what we can expect
right,
Draymond to look like at this point, which is very encouraging. But it's also very frustrating that he just has been suspended for, or has gotten suspended for like 20 plus games at this point in the
right,
season. Hopefully, he's done with suspensions. Period for the rest of his career. Knock on
right,
wood.
right.
Because he's still very, very good. Like
Yeah.
is
And
I
you
mean,
saw it on the defensive end. You saw just how he impacts it just being available.
mhm,
And now everybody's clicking, everybody's moving, knowing where to go, and having the kind of just like, whew, I don't have to do everything because I know he's there
mhm.
to make up for any kind of lapse or whatever, but you don't feel like everybody's just kind of like on a string at this point.
Yeah, yeah. He's the quarterback of the defense. A lot of times, especially when Steph isn't on the court, he's the quarterback of the offense. We saw at the end of the quarter, I think it was the third quarter. They had like 12 seconds left, and he said, "Everybody
Yep.
stop.
Yep.
Klay, come get the ball. Run this pick and
Yep.
roll with me. 2 people are going to go with you. You give it to me." He ended up messing up the pass to Kuminga for the dunk at the end of the quarter.
Yeah, because
But the
that was
play
gonna
call,
be
yeah, that would have
it.
kind of
Yeah.
pretty much put the game away. But the play call itself, the understanding of time and situation, that's what
Mhm.
they've been missing, especially with him and Chris Paul when they were both out. Now that Draymond is back, a lot of things just flow a lot easier because of his IQ, his understanding, and all that type of stuff. Uh,
Yeah.
yeah. Speaking of
Oh,
Clay
and
Thompson,
yeah, bring it, because he was doing it. Like he had himself a game as well.
he did. Yeah, 24 points. He had 5 threes. Him and Steph both kind of struggled from 2
Too.
point range.
Right.
But I mean, his shot looked pretty good, right? He's taking it with confidence, with speed, and had a few good defensive plays as well. Got a block on Dejounte
Block.
that led to
Yep.
a dunk. He looks pretty spry. I mean, it's obviously unfortunate circumstances, but I'm sure just from a body perspective, like having the time off that they did, probably put a little juice in the old legs for sure.
Yeah. We could see that because he was moving everywhere and recovering and just still again hitting his shots and things like that and staying locked in on both ends of the floor and
Mhm.
not, there was no slumping. There was none of that. It was all like, yo, let's go.
Yeah,
We got this. We can keep this up. So that was really good to see. And like you
yeah,
said, Stefan got it going, in that second half. But hey, and you can see the difference now with Draymond back. Now Stefan can actually play the defense that he knows how to play and not having to just do silly fouls because he's tired, because he's had to
hmm,
carry a lot more. But you saw
yeah,
in this, he's taking the Pepsi challenge, he's on DeJounte Murray, so it's
hmm,
like, hey, he's doing it. So you just saw the difference in
for sure.
having Draymond back and now what people can actually focus on.
Yeah, yeah. He covers up so much, and he allows people to, like you said, focus on a singular task and try to do their best job in that task. Speaking of Steph, he had 25 points. It didn't seem like he had that much,
Right?
and then he just somehow has 25 and 8. He's still Steph.
Yeah.
I think the rhythm on his shots around the rim are going to get there as the season kind of progresses and they get into a better rhythm overall. But I mean, the 3 point shot looked good. He was 5 for 8 tonight. I think the attempts are going to go up as they progress. But 31 minutes, not too much. Playing better defense. I think he can get even better on the defensive end. But overall, pretty good game from him. Pods had a nice game. He had 10
He
points.
did.
I saw him tweet earlier. I don't know if it was today or yesterday, where someone put out an article pretty much saying like he hit a rookie
Right, he
wall.
hit a wall. Yeah, and
Yeah,
he's like, I'm
and
taking
he put the
notes.
little taking notes emoji there. I like that type of stuff, right? Like I like that
Yeah.
competitive nature. I like that like I keep receipts because Steph is the same way as well. Like
Hmm.
he doesn't just outwardly say it, but he definitely keeps receipts and stuff. And it just shows like a fire. It shows that type of like you care about how you play. You care about all these like kind of I guess going against all these narratives or whenever someone says anything about you, you want to prove them wrong and prove yourself right. So that's kind of like a good indicator of someone who has a good work ethic, someone who has, takes the game very seriously. And those type of players that typically, improve over time. Jonathan is another one.
Yeah.
He,
Yeah. He watching.
he wants, yeah, he wants that recognition. He wants people to understand like how good of a player he is, and that's why he takes these challenges and these things so personal. Um,
Oh, and on pods, his hook shot was hooking finally,
yeah,
and got his little float game back. So it was good to see. He was making some really smart plays and taking the right shots.
hmm
So wasn't going too wild in there. So that
yeah,
was good.
yeah. With Pods, I think it's just a matter of his touch getting to a comfortable level. You can tell that like these are shots that he's comfortable taking. It's just the fact that like you just got to work on him a little bit more. You got to get a little bit stronger, get a better rhythm, and all that type of stuff. And then those shots start to go in more frequently. But I mean, he's a player. He's someone they should definitely look to invest in long term. Keep him on the roster, let him grow within the system, and I think he's going to turn into a very very good player. And I mean, I think he'll do that alongside Jonathan, alongside Trace. I think at this
Yeah.
point, especially, I mean, given the flashes, right, with Jonathan, it's clear that he's going to be a player. Like no matter how good you think he's going to be, I think at the very least he's a starter somewhere. At the very least, he's I think a starter on a contender, right? I think he'll be
Hmm.
that good. Ultimately, he's only 21, so I think his floor is somewhere around like an Aaron Gordon type of player,
Hmm.
right? Like he can start on a championship team. That in itself puts you in an elite company of player. So I think he's worth investing in long term. If you can find a way to keep him but still add talent to this roster, then I think that's the move. I don't think you should be like necessarily shopping JK. Like I don't think there's any more All NBA players, All Stars that are available at the moment. So I think you got something good here. So you should probably keep him in house unless a deal just knocks you out of the water. You know,
And I don't see a deal doing that. So
no, probably not.
yeah,
Probably
I
not.
think he's here to stay.
He's gonna stay. I guess we can look ahead. I don't really want to go into like trade stuff, just given the
Yeah.
occasion.
Yeah. And with what Nat said, it's kind of like if you did a trade now, because you really have like till I think next week or whatever, or the week after,
Hmm
and just with the loss that they had, and then you're now going to move someone out who has probably been with the team for a good minute and you guys are close or whatever. It just would be like that on top of now
Many
you're
different emotions.
ripping this. It's just like we can't take it.
Yeah,
But again, who knows? It could just be business is business and we do what we got to do. But like you said, we that's like whatever they do, that's what they do. We don't have to focus on that. And you didn't even mention Andrew Wiggins, who was playing the defense that we remember.
hmm
And
he was.
both him and Kuminga sharing the court together with Draymond, it was pretty good. So they got a lot of run out of that. And so I was actually I was impressed. I was encouraged by seeing that. And you
Hmm
saw that Andrew actually had some energy and he's still hitting his free throws, which is so good. So
Yeah,
good.
yeah, he did. He did have a great defensive game, especially when he was like matched up with DeJounte one-on-one. His size kind of overwhelmed DeJounte. And DeJounte is like obviously a player who uses athleticism and his quickness a lot. And if he can get you off balance, then he'll pull up and go into his mid-range pull-up, but he can't really like do that on players like Wiggins. So when he's seeing the other teams like best defender, one of their better defenders, he's probably not going to be like that type of player. So that was a great job from Wiggins there. He did have 5 rebounds in 29 minutes. He was a plus 11. He had 12 points. Would like to see the 3-ball kind of return, but other than that, I think he had a pretty solid game.
Yeah. I mean, in that 3 that he took in the fourth, I think it was the fourth, it looked good. I thought it was going in. It just and came out. But it looked good coming off that I thought, all right, and he just missed. But so but it looks like he's getting there. He's getting there. But this is good.
It's just a matter of him like doing it more than one game at a time.
Right.
So let's try to stack those games. They play again tomorrow night. So
this is true.
Games where you're really locked in defensively, and I think we all can acknowledge that Wiggins is very much, for lack of a better term, dependent on Draymond defensively to kind of like provide that energy, right? Because Wiggins isn't someone who just has a never-ending motor. He's someone who kind of has to be revved up a little bit, and he revved up players better than Draymond Green.
Right, we're going out.
Yeah. Like kind of bring that, like kind of on him to bring that fire. I think Draymond would do that and get the best out of him there. And that lineup that you were mentioning, like the trio with Wiggins and Kuminga, that's probably their highest upside lineup, right? You have 4 guys who are 6'6", 6'7", and above, athletic. Well, Klay's not really athletic, but like longer guy,
right,
stocky, and that's probably your best offensive lineup with size and athleticism. You got Kuminga going to the rim, you got Steph and Klay shooting the ball, and Wiggins, at least the best version of Wiggins,
right?
To be able to provide some shooting and some finishing around the rim. With Draymond kind of doing like the quarterback thing, and I mean he's been shooting threes better now too. So I want to see them lean into that lineup until the trade deadline. Honestly, like that should be your go-to lineup just to see what you got, because that's the lineup that you would have to use against the better teams in the league anyway. So just see if it's actually good.
Yeah, they did have an extended run in this particular game. It wasn't like it wasn't a quick hook at all. It was like, oh, all right, they playing. Look.
Yeah. especially in the second quarter. That's when they kind of went on a little run.
Yeah.
And then Steph kind of did some little boneheaded stuff at the end of the second quarter.
Right. Some weirdness.
But it was cool. They got a few fast breaks out of it. Yeah. I mean, they gotta see what they got with it. Like they should be forcing a lot of turnovers with that. They should be getting out in transition, and Kuminga and Wiggins should be dunk city. And once they put enough pressure on the rim, it's more threes for Steph and Klay. And that's like Warriors basketball right there. So I hope they can get more minutes out of that lineup and just kind of see what they have with that.
For sure.
But looking ahead, they got the Kings tomorrow night, or I guess tonight. Yeah. If you're on the East Coast.
East Coast. Right.
It seems like this is the 1,000th time they've played the Kings.
Right? It really does feel like that. Like, my gosh.
They play the Kings every other day. And the Kings aren't playing particularly well, I don't think.
No, they have not been.
No.
But again, they're coming after Big Brother, so they'll be sure to kind of turn it up and everything. But we hope that we also turn it up as well. So.
Yes, because they owe the Kings. They do. They owe the Kings. They shouldn't have lost the game they lost to them with the Malik Monk prayer shot, but they were up 5 with like 10 seconds left or something like that. I don't know, something crazy.
Yeah.
So they owe the Kings. It's going to be in Chase, obviously. So they need to beat them.
Take care of home.
After that, I don't think they play again for a few days, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I thought it was like maybe
no, they play Saturday.
Saturday.
Yeah.
Okay, so Can I get a day?
Yeah, they get a day. They get a day. But I mean, it's a nice little homestand right here. Atlanta, then Sacramento, then Los Angeles, then Philly, all at home. Then they go on the road.
Right.
And that's like the pre-trade deadline stretch right there. All those road games, and then we'll just see if everyone makes it back to a center on
Everybody come out. We'll send your things. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. Wow, that's crazy. That's crazy. So Sacramento tomorrow at 10. We got anything? Got anything else?
Nope. Just a rest in peace to Deki.
For sure. For sure. Rest in peace to Deki. We didn't do like a Deki dedication pod. We were just kind of letting everybody take the news in and kind of go through their emotions the way that they go through them individually, but very much rest in peace to him. Thankful for what he brought to the franchise. Obviously, all the players were affected by him, both on and off the court, particularly the big men on the team.
Mm-hmm.
He's been credited with like helping Loon take another leap in his career, which ultimately helped the Warriors win a championship in 2022. Yeah. So he's very much like a Warrior, for life and in death. So shout out to him. They're going to wear that DM on their jersey for the foreseeable future, and it's warranted, right? He's a legend both for the Warriors franchise, but for the basketball world as a whole. All right. So we'll see you guys next time tomorrow. Right. We'll be on after the Kings game, so we'll be able to chat with you guys there. Let's see if we can get some hearts.
Can we get it? Can we get it? It's not gonna let me.
Lift yours up. You got to lift yours up.
Oh, got to lift it up. Let me see.
Yeah, there we go. There we go. So yeah, we will see you guys tomorrow night. Peace.
Hasta mañana.